Welcome to this video on how to actually read things later using Dendro. We live in the information age, which means there's a ton of stuff that you can read. And so there are now a lot of options for ways to save things to read later. You can use bookmarks, you can use browser tabs, you can use read it later apps. You can save a whole list of links in notepads. And at the end of the day, it's not that hard to collect a list of things to read later. The actual challenge is reading those things, alright? Because you have a long list of articles and you want to actually get to them one by one and go through them. With Dendro, we not only have a way to collect things to read, but more importantly, we have a way to engage with those things that you've collected. That means that you no longer have this problem of collecting a whole bunch of content that's really interesting and that you really want to get to, and then feeling like, wow, I've collected 200 articles and I don't know where to begin. With Dendro, that problem goes away. So let's see how it looks. This is my brand new Dendro account. First, I'm going to collect some sources, and then I'm going to show you what it looks like in terms of actually engaging in those sources and how easy it can be. So firstly, I'm going to go to Add Source, and I found a couple of interesting articles on learning. And as their web pages, I'm just going to paste the links into here. When I click continue, we see that the article has been taken from the internet and pasted into this text editor, and we have the title imported and a link. Of course, if you want to add any other information, you can do that yourself, but before you save it, you'll need to choose a tag. Now, because this article is about learning, I'm going to use the learning tag, but you can import sources from all different topics and save them in here. Once you've imported it, you'll see that it's last seen today. And if you go to click next, it'll give you the next time that you're going to see this. So as you can see, everything that you import into Dendro gets automatically scheduled for review. That means instead of collecting a whole bunch of stuff that you never get to, you can use Dendro's engaging system to actually read through all those sources that you've collected. But before I engage with that single source, I'm going to add a couple more. So I've got another article, and I'm going to add that link in too. Same sort of thing here, but this is a completely different article, also on learning, and I'll save that. Finally, I've got a video from YouTube that is about how to convert notes and sources, or notes and highlights, into flashcards using Dendro. So as that's a YouTube video, it also has a link, but because it's a video, you can't actually paste anything into the text editor. So I'll just put some initial notes in there. And that's also about learning. Alright, so just to show you what I've got now, I've added 3 sources, and I can see them all down here. These are my newest sources. And I can easily add in a bunch more, but the interesting thing is how to actually engage in it. Now, as we saw, each time I add a source into Dendro, it gives it an automatically scheduled date for review. But when I click engage, it creates a feed for me that's based on everything that I've imported. So here I clicked engage and I see one of the articles that I've added. This is where all of that decision fatigue gets removed. All of that time you spend deciding, which article am I going to start with? Don't even worry about that. You just click engage and Dendro will use its automatic scheduling system to choose one for you. Then you might start with a fairly long article that you just don't have the time or energy to read the whole thing, and that's okay. You can just start reading part of it, and as you go, if you find something useful or interesting, you just highlight it, then click Add Note. What that does is it clips that portion out into its own separate node, which I can show you in the tree. So this note is linked to the article that it came from, but it's just the part that we highlighted. Right? And so each time you highlight something and click Add Note, it will create a new note. But say I don't have time or interest to read the whole thing today, I can just click where I'm up to, leave the cursor there, and then click Bookmark. Now next time I come back to this article, I can pick up where I left off. But when is the next time I'll come back? Well, it's going to be in about 3 days. So I'll click Next, and I've already, as you can see, it was very easy to start reading from my list and learn something useful and move on. And even if I just stop there, I've actually started reading from my list. And if that's a point that is a blocker for you, actually getting through your reading list, then you're going to find this really effective. So now I'm at the second article, having a read, and then I find something interesting. So I'm going to highlight it and add note. Keep reading, and then I found something else useful, highlight and add note. Now let's say I've read the whole article, maybe there's only one more thing that I wanted to add, so I add that, and now I don't want to see this article again. It says next review in 3 days, I don't want to see it again though. I'll just remove it from the feed. And that's it. And now I know that every day that I come to Dendro and I click engage, it's only going to be showing me those things that I want to see. Anything I don't want to see anymore, I remove from the feed. And when I click engage, it takes away all those decisions for me, and I can just give myself, like, let's say 15 minutes, engage in maybe 20, 30 different articles, learn something from each of them, and then get on with my day. And so that's how you can actually read what you collect in Dendro. If you're interested in trying it for yourself, head over to dendro.cloud and sign up for your free account. Thank you.